Putting the show out there, folks, as we're talking.
Yes, as people pour in.
The Disney, is that Disneyland that I'm looking at now? Or no, the Hollywood sign.
It's Hollywood.
Hollywood. Beautiful Hollywood.
בלוס אנג'לס, אבל חוש מסחרי לא היה לה. היא אומנם הייתה סופרת מצוינת.
It's a great little video came across.
לא היה לה. לאט לאט היא אכלה את הכסף הזה, בסוף החנות נסגרה וזהו. ואז היא התחילה לעבוד בבית המלון המפורסם.
Well, you think we should get started?
Yeah, let's just turn off the sound on there, but let's keep it running. Why don't we? Just for fun. Yeah. Look a little bit of fair use video that we're having in the background here, Joe.
Of course. Would I use anything else? Have we gotten flagged? No way. Not on my watch. Go ahead. Why don't you start us off? Why don't you tell people who we are?
Joe,
who are we?
Well, we are. This is Transparency and Merit. I am Brian, and we have Joe just above me.
I'm here live. I'm Joe. Yes, and this is a Stoic Calm episode. Many of you know our old Stoic Calm show that we did on Spreaker and Blog Talk Radio back in the day. And I think what happened was we would do these shows and there would be so much buildup of things maybe in our real life, online life. And every once in a while we'd have to break it down into a Stoic Calm. And help me, I'm angry. What are you angry about? What do you got to be angry about?
You know what? And I'm hearing an echo. Hopefully it does not play out in the playback.
Ooh.
But I'll tell you something, Joe. I am angry about social media. And I mean, that's what I'm angriest mostly about. YouTube and these other, I feel they're controlled by the left and primarily the fanatical anti-racist left, and they're able to get away with things. And that other groups or conservatives are not able to get away with. Now, I consider myself a pragmatic moderate, but I see like how much they get away and how much power they have. And being someone who kind of grew up, my father was always a struggling person within Hollywood. And I'm not even going to say he didn't make it because he was a conservative. He didn't make it because he never had, like his visions of film and stuff. And I'll get into that later, where primarily, he was stuck in an old world style thinking, and he had other difficulties too that would not have translated to people thinking that he could be a profitable filmmaker or writer. But beyond that, I mean, I do remember, how liberal Hollywood was, but it wasn't as leftist as it is today. I've always been, because my father was not only into film, but he was also into journalism and he was into politics. And it seems like there is a really big far-right divide in this nation. And the left has a lot of control over the big things in life, whether it's big business or it is the mainstream media, and along with the social media. Now, for a while, social media, particularly YouTube, was kind of like the Wild West. People could say what they want, and they could respond in the manner in which they wanted. And basically, I think far leftists couldn't win the intellectual argument, and it wasn't that palatable. So they decided for censorship. Because economics can be. Economic. In my opinion, economic arguments. I think to a degree the conservatives have it, and on social arguments, particularly on certain racial issues, on certain social justice issues, when people rail against them and paint them into a corner, they basically, for the most part, anti-racist leftists can't handle people's questions, and they can't handle their arguments. So what do is they censor. It's really made me angry. If you had a better argument, you wouldn't need to censor, and it's really unfair. It really does, Joe, boil my blood.
Well, maybe I'll start off by saying maybe you're frustrated because you know all of those terrible key words, moderate, and I don't even know half of these categories that people fall into now. What did you say you are? You reckon you're a?
I said I'm a pragmatic moderate, and look, I'm willing.
What the hell is a pragmatic? What is a pragmatic moderate?
Someone who's looks at both sides and then makes a decision. I'm a pragmatic moderate that probably leans more to the right than I do to the left. To me,
so a moderate is sounds to me like a centrist, but you're saying you're right of the dial.
I'm more right to the dial than I am to the left.
So to me, that's not a moderate.
I'm more to the right. I'm a moderate who leans right.
Okay. That makes more sense to me. So a pragmatic moderate right. I'm going to break your stoic calm because I think you're full of shit.
Well, at least, here's the deal. Why do you think I'm full of shit?
What does that even mean? How do you not take an issue for what it's worth? Why would you have to consider yourself right? Why don't you just call it like it is? You're a bit conservative. That's it. That kind of encapsulates all those words into one.
That may be true. So I'm a bit okay. You know what? I like my description a little bit better. It says that I'm willing to listen to other sides. I have found the left to be very unwilling to listen, and I think we've become more polarized than ever before. And part of me does, want to see the left crushed in this country, because then they can change. And Debbie has said, people who sit on fences are worthless. Well, I don't, I'm not a fence sitter. I do take a stand.
You heard the woman. She's going to break your stoic calm. It's easy.
And I may even be. I wonder if my wanting to cane people, violent criminals.
I wish Debbie would call in and talk some sense into you. You're so far gone that even Debbie could talk sense into you.
Debbie, well, Listen,
Debbie says she's your one and only friend who would have your back if she ever thought you were sad or mad or upset. And here you are, rolling around in mud, stuck in these strange ideals, dividing and then subdividing those divided notions, and so you could fall into some kind of fall somewhere in between where all of these YouTube idiots are.
now, by the way, Joe, where do you stand on the left-right divide?
I don't see things as left and right. I think anyone who's too far right is a complete idiot, and anyone who's too far left is a complete idiot. And
So you're moderate.
The rest of the middle and the rest of the people are trying to figure it out. But I don't really. I guess I just have a set of ideals, and I'm not falling for any of the bullshit tactics. And both sides, from my perspective, all commit heinous acts of just telling mistruth, misinformation, and they all sides protect a strange narrative that is outdated. And right now we're seeing something very, very different. We're never going back to the way things were even last year.
I hope you are horribly wrong on that, because I want to see things back the way they were. And about this pandemic,
you're fooling yourself. You don't think that this is a complete arm stretch. This is a grab, a grab for power, a power grab. And I think if it goes unchecked, and if there's enough people who hope or believe, people who say these key words, these are the people that set the sirens off in my head.
Here's something.
I don't believe that, or I believe that. Get out of here.
Well, here's what I say, and you may agree or disagree. I value my freedom over my safety. I think we're kept inside because we're shut down because of a virus, and a virus that there's no clarity on. Everybody has a different thing, and we're kept inside. We're forced to wear masks in places. Some of us are even there's even talk about forcing us to wear masks.
No, not forced. You always have a choice, Brian. You're never forced. So that's the wrong word. Nobody's forcing.
You can't go into a store, Joe. You cannot go into a store without a mask.
Brian, that's not forcing you, though. That's a very different thing from force.
You're right. All right. We're not, what? You're right. We're not forced, but this thing has caused deep change within our lives. And it certainly doesn't feel like freedom in the way that we used to operate. We're not operating anymore. And I think this kind of panic is not good, not just for America, but for the world. And our press is doing a terrible job.
Yes.
Our press the mainstream press primarily just wants to blame the president, and it doesn't want to go any further than that. They're not helping the situation. I'm not saying that the president's doing a great job, but the press is not helping the situation. It almost like they just want to see him lose, and it's like, dude, I want the press to say, what are we going to do? How do you? Okay. Suppose. There are people who believe it's fake, but suppose it's real. Suppose, hey man, how can we open up the economy in the most safe way? Why aren't people asking that? And why are these people given chairs in the thing to ask loaded questions? And I'm pissed off about that. I'm pissed off at the mainstream media.
Welcome to Nick FM. He's here with Todd Morris, Debbie. I think you're out of your mind.
I'm right. You know what, dude? Maybe I am. Maybe I'm completely bonkers. But I'm angry, Joe. I'm angry at the mainstream media, and I'm angry, and I'm angry at social media because, social media censors, and the mainstream, isn't helping the problem.
Aren't you sick of being lied to?
You know what? I'm sick of...
I'm asking you a question. Are you sick of being lied to?
Here's the deal, Joe. I don't know if I'm being lied to or not. I'm sick of the partisanship. At this time, I'm sick of the partisanship. Our lives have been completely altered. And the press that we didn't elect, but they sure do as hell censor and alter our lives, has made things, in my opinion, they've exacerbated the problem. They're not making the problem better. I mean, you know what, dude? I wish for days of like a Ted Koppel or a Walter Cronkite. These people stink. And I'm pissed off at them. I'm pissed. And you know what? I couldn't advertise my show on Facebook. I don't know why. I mean, maybe it's because I showed that clip. But yeah, I'm pissed. I'm pissed at social media, and I'm pissed at the mainstream media. I feel much of the press makes it about themselves, and they take up valuable time. And they draw a narrative that isn't healthy. And they shouldn't be in the press box. I want people asking questions on how we can move forward. I don't want questions about, like, aren't you cheerleading? I mean, just that one woman really pissed me off.
For one, I would like to give a homework assignment out to anybody who's listening, and that is to get familiar with the concept of tertium quid. Tertium quid.
I think I had that for dinner.
I definitely had one after dinner.
Yeah, I bet you did. But now, why don't you describe what that is, Joey?
I'm gonna do a whole show on it, whether it's with you or without. But yeah, we're gonna get this all drawn up, and I feel strongly that the tertium quid is a concept that is an underlying factor in all of this, and I can't believe it that not one mainstream news company has described it. Nobody knows what the hell I'm talking about. It's a concept that's at least 100 years old or more, probably several hundreds of years. But for the sake of simplicity, it's a factor in the economy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to hear more of that. I'd like to hear if anybody out there has an experience, even hearing the term tertium quid. But we'll get there one day. We'll draw it all out nice and neat for everybody.
Now, Joe, suppose someone came to you, like he was a good friend, and he says, I'm really mad at this guy, social media, or I'm really mad at this guy, mainstream media, and if I see him, I'm probably going to want to paste their face because they're really unfair and they've done a lot of wrong things. How would you, like, say that, like, social media and mainstream are actual real people who are just you know, like the other person like me thinks they're real scumbags, and they want to just lash out at them, and anything next to them who support them, they want to just lash out at. What would be your advice to that person?
Be smart. Be smart and use your tactics the right way. And don't show your cards all at once if you don't need to. Nobody's asking you anyways. So.
Yeah. The thing of it, I mean, to me,
I think that's a problem. If somebody comes in and starts trying to bully the answers out of people, that's going to backfire just as bad as anything else. So,
yeah,
you got to come loaded with real information and know your history. And I always point to the oldest texts, and the older the material you can get your hands on, to dig into that. And
I mean, as far as the anti-racist left is concerned, I've known of them for over 30 years, and they haven't been really effectively challenged until social media, particularly YouTube, came into its own, and some of these YouTube moderators, started really challenging them and poking holes through their arguments. Are we getting a call?
Well, it looks like we have a call. Hello, Debbie. You're on.
Hi, JP.
How are you?
Is Mr. in that movie there?
He's here. Let me go get him.
Okay. I'm waiting for my steak.
He's returned from the bathroom.
Yes. Well, I thought I would call and try to help you out. Okay,
go ahead.
Oh, please.
What?
We need it. We need your help.
I need your help. I'm boiling. I'm boiling with anger. Can you see me? I don't know if you see my face. I am
Debbie.
I haven't looked at you, but I haven't looked at you recently. But I was going to see if I could help you. There's this thing that it's a left-right political quiz thing that's 8 questions long.
Okay.
I want to ask them and see where you land. Okay.
Ah, very nice.
True or false?
Yes,
government should not censor speech, press, media, or the internet.
True.
Military service should be voluntary. There should never be a draft.
False.
There should be no laws regarding sex for consenting adults. Now, Brian,
True.
we know how you feel about that one.
Yeah, I stop pretending like you have to think about it.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
There should be no national ID card.
False.
Repeal laws prohibiting adult possession and usage of drugs.
Say that question one more time, please.
We should repeal the laws prohibiting adult possession and usage of drugs.
True.
All right. End corporate welfare. No government handouts to businesses.
True.
End government barriers to international free trade.
I'm kind of 50-50 on that, but true.
I'll put you down as in the middle. Let people control their own retirement. Privatize Social Security.
In the middle.
Replace government welfare with private charity.
In the middle.
Take a stand, you pussy. Sorry, go ahead.
Cut taxes and government spending by over 50%.
Agree.
I don't think I believe all of his answers, but since I try to not use that word, I try to never say believe.
Your results?
Okay. Yes.
Right.
Let's hear where he's at. He says
All
moderate.
right. It says you are a centrist.
Huh?
Centrists prefer middle ground regarding government control of the economy and personal behavior. Depending on the issue, they sometimes favor government intervention and sometimes support individual freedom of choice. Centrists pride themselves on keeping an open mind. They tend to oppose political extremists and empathize with what they described as practice solutions to problems.
I would like to
You're-
see a
Yeah, you did
study
say that.
that's broken down a little bit more. I would like to see him answer a longer survey and really
Yeah.
dig into these. But I get where you're going with that as a general.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's so many of these. I was trying to do a short one because I knew y'all wouldn't want me to do a long one.
No, I do
But-
actually. In this case, I would have liked a longer one.
Actually, you're leaning a little bit towards libertarian. You're in the middle, but you're leaning up with the libertarians. So, how about that? Does that help you at all?
That's what he said.
I'll tell you something though. Libertarians disappointed me because they are against the death penalty, which, I'm not in favor of the death penalty for everything.
Is that right?
But what's that?
They're against the death penalty, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah, they become they I think they've come out in favor against the death penalty, which I'm not in favor of it for all cases, but there are some cases that are so heinous that I believe in the death penalty.
There are some pretty bad seeds out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you agree with me, Joe?
Now there is have you ever heard of the Pew corporate, the Pew thing where they take big
Pew pew.
Yes, I've heard of them. My dad, when he was helping for a Republican run for Congress, he did a whole thing on research, and we did graphs and everything else to try to. He lost, by the way. He was a Lebanese Republican. Great food, by the way.
Well, they have
That's
an 11 question political party side quiz that I could give you real quick. You wanted me to do that one? We'll try that one. See how you land.
We can do that one again. Sure, why not?
Okay, you ready?
Yes, go ahead.
Which statement comes closer to your own views? A, business corporations make too much profit. Or B, most corporations make a fair and reasonable amount of profit.
B.
Next question. Which statement comes closer to your own views? A, problems in the world would be worse without the United States involvement. B, United States efforts to solve problems around the world usually end up making things worse.
Is it just A and B?
Yeah, that's it.
A.
And this is the Pew Research Center. They do a lot of big stuff. So I would tend to lean B because they really messed up in Vietnam. I don't think we should have been in Korea. I don't think we should have been in the Bay of
Korea. I 1,000% disagree with you on Korea. We should have been in Korea. We saved South Korea from a very totalitarian regime, and I think we were right to stand against the Cold War.
You know what my father would do if he heard me saying we had no right being in Korea? He would kill me. What about going over to Iran and causing all of that bullshit over there? Do you think we belong to
Iraq? No. I think maybe we should have gone into. I think, and Joe would probably disagree adamantly with me, but perhaps we should have gone into Iran. They were the ones. He would be railing against that whole.
Yes, he wanted to get all of their Lebanon and stuffed, stuffed leaves and all that shit.
Yeah,
get out of here. No purpose, no reason to invading any country.
Well, they were supporting terrorism, so yeah. Iran is the biggest sponsor of terrorism, so I never knew why we went into Iraq and not Iran. I never knew that the answer to that, because I think
not enough people. I'll tell you why. Not enough people believed the propaganda. Some did, but not enough.
Well, enough people believed in the propaganda to bomb Iraq. They would have gone. Let me just say this. Can I finish this? Can I finish? Can I let me
No. No. Weapons of mass destruction. Address it now.
I think we were wrong. I think we were wrong to go into Iraq. I don't understand why we didn't go into Iran. They were a bigger sponsor of terror at the time. I don't know why we chose Iraq and we didn't go into Iran. I think they still seem to be a very large threat to our nation, and maybe
I think we were scared of Iran. We were more scared, right?
I think well, we are more scared of Iran than we are of Iraq, but you know, I still think that Iran should have been the country that we focused on, not Iraq.
All right, next question. Do you think it's the responsibility of the federal government to make sure that all Americans have health care?
No.
Hard line on that. Love it. Okay. Do you strongly favor, oppose, or strongly oppose allowing gays to marry?
I'm in favor of it. I don't care what anyone
Strongly?
else.
Favor.
Strongly, I favor.
Which statement sounds like you? A, government is doing too many things that would be better left to businesses and individuals. Or that was A. And then B is government should do more to solve problems.
A.
Good one. Which comes closer to you? A. Oh, sorry. Undocumented immigrants who are now living in the United States should not be allowed to stay here, or should be allowed to stay here.
Is there any middle ground on that?
Nope. This is a hardline quiz by the Pew Center. They're really tough.
If it's between one or the other, then the answer is no. But I mean, I actually have a middle ground on that. I don't believe every one of them, but I believe if it's between yes or no, I'm going to pick no. They shouldn't be allowed to stay. But I have a middle. I have a middle option for that.
Which statement comes closer to your own views? This country has gone too far in its efforts to protect the environment, or this country should do whatever it takes to protect the environment.
The first one.
Really? Okay. Do you think abortion should be A, legal in all cases, B, legal in most cases, C, illegal in most cases, or D, illegal in all cases?
Legal in most cases.
Interesting. All right, you have two more. Which of the following comes closer to your view about the federal government's effort to protect us from from terrorism? Number one, Muslims living in the United States should be subject to more scrutiny than other people. Number two, Muslims living in the United States should not be subject to additional scrutiny just because of the way they look or their religion.
That would be number one.
Good one. Number 10, there's 11 of them. Having an increasing number of people of different races, ethnic groups, and nationalities in the U.S., boink, better place to live, boink, worse place to live, or boink, it doesn't make a difference at all. Think about that one.
It causes conflict, unfortunately. I mean, it causes conflict, so it makes it to a degree. For some groups, it makes it worse. So I would say it makes it a worse place to live. Unfortunately,
I know.
Conflict comes.
I agree.
That's conflict.
Says, I'm sorry. Which statement comes closer to your own views? Number one, the economic system in this country is pretty fair. Number two, the economic system in this country is extremely unfair.
I would say the latter.
And here we go with your results are you are a conservative Republican.
There we go.
hard on the right. You can't get any farther right, it says. Wow.
That was a much better question.
These reports are, come on now. These reports, I'm still.
No way. Stop kidding yourself. You are way more right than you say you are.
I was with you on every answer. Every answer. That you have to see, because the Q makes you make up your mind. They don't give you this little gimme stuff where they give you a mulligan.
Some of those questions need to have the hairs split, and that did it a lot better than the other questionnaire. And you answered honestly. I agreed with you. I was with you also. I agreed that you were answering the way you should have answered.
Yeah, but I have to say, I still like to think of myself as a moderate, even though I may not be.
Well, you could also think of yourself as a ballerina.
Have you, Debbie? Have you ever been a ballerina?
Shut up! No, I've never been a ballerina.
You never took ballet?
No, I never took ballet. No.
Did you ever take tap?
Imagining Brian with
Did you ever do like tap dance, like the on the good chip lollipop?
The good chip lollipop. No, but Heather did. Why?
How come you didn't? What's wrong with you?
I don't know. I just didn't. I was a cheerleader and a dancer. I didn't do that stuff.
Dancers took. What kind of dance did you do?
Lollipop.
You were a dancer and you never took tappa tappa tappa?
In fact, I saw a video of Heather the other day when she was only 2 years old dancing to YRC. It's about, it was Kermit the Frog, the Rainbow Connection.
On the sunny beach of Peppermint Bay, lemonade stands everywhere. Cracker Jack bands fill the air.
There we go.
Good chip lollipop.
You know, my mother was a big fan of Shirley Temple. My father used to call her Shirley Pimple.
Wasn't she real abused? Wasn't she, or wasn't she?
You know what? I think there may have been some of the older movie heads trying to get into her little lollipop pants, but.
Look at some of the videos about her now that break down some of the symbolism and the things that she was singing and doing, and you'll see a whole lot of sexual overtones and real creepy stuff. So I would say, yeah, she was probably involved in some heavy programming.
You know, and I wonder, like, because the country's changed, because I don't think they would tolerate the kind of stuff, like, because, I mean, but you know what? All the stuff
that killed the chick upstairs.
Fatty Arbuckle.
Do y'all believe that? I believe that.
Oh, it's another Hollywood story.
Fatty Arbuckle was innocent lady. Do you think Fatty Arbuckle was guilty?
Well, yeah, I just said that.
Yeah, knowing what I know now, I would tend towards that being. Who knows? I mean, stories with sex involved. It's a big deal in Hollywood. I don't know. I don't. With a lot of stories, bullshit on. There's a lot of stories I don't believe. That story I still think may have some credibility.
I think Cosby. You know what? And I think
bottle where the sun don't shine.
I believe that Cosby is completely guilty, totally guilty.
Yeah. Absolutely.
What's that?
Yeah,
absolutely. What about OJ?
Absolutely guilty. And you know what, Debbie? I want to say this. Let me say this. Oh,
the whole thing was a put up. The whole thing was a division.
Now I'm getting angry.
Yes, of course. There we go. I finally did it by speaking the truth.
That I believe that his son did it, which I did at one time. But
yeah, and you fought me, Debbie. You fought me tooth and nail, and you and Mr. Solution double teamed me.
And it's another one of those stories that still doesn't have an answer. I'm calling hoax all day long.
No, they were both murdered.
And argue about it.
Call it a hoax. But that's what we're here for. We are transparency and merit, and people can have what I believe to be kooky ideas. But you know what? Joe thinks that I have cuckoo ideas. He thinks that like we shouldn't have we shouldn't have gone to Iraq. But when I say perhaps we should have gone to Iran, he thinks I'm completely insane. And when I talked about maybe blowing up China, he also said, or that we are in a cold civil war, the possibility of a cold civil war. Joe will say that sounds absolutely insane. Do you say you really don't think we're in to a degree, a little bit of a cold civil war, Joe?
Not even close.
Debbie?
No, I do not. I do not believe that. And I do not believe that you have to do all this mask bullshit. Just tell them to suck it.
That's right.
Brian, the chick down here in Texas that told him to suck it just got $500,000. She got $500,000 on a GoFundMe.
Brian should be that guy. You're right. All you have to do is go into 7-Eleven.
Just refuse that bullshit.
Go to 7-Eleven and order 15 of their chimichangas like you always do, and the guy's going to say no mask, no service, and you turn your camera on and you tell him to go to hell and give you the chimichangas.
Say, I don't have the coronavirus and I do not believe it's in here. I want my fucking chimichangas and I want them now. And everybody's going to back you.
Yes.
And you're probably going to go to jail. No big deal. Go to jail. We'll get you out that same night.
Yes.
You know what? When we went to play tennis on Sunday on Mother's Day, I swear to God, I went with everybody.
Nice.
And it was a closed public tennis court. And we jumped the fences. And then Victor drove back home, got some clippers and clipped down the gate. And we were begging. I was going, please, God, let somebody come and arrest me. That chick has got $500,000.
There you go.
But seriously, I do refuse to wear masks. When I was in Walgreens just yesterday, I was like, she goes, you need to have mask on. I said, well, I don't. So just whatever. You know, I wanted to say suck it, but I didn't.
You know, I mean, there's been so much conflicting information about wearing masks. Where I live, there are people who have posted signs. Now, it's not governmental, but they said, for your health and mine and our children, please wear a mask when you're outside.
Give me a break.
What would you say if you saw that, Joe, if you saw that in your neighborhood, what would you do?
You know, I'm so happy my neighborhood is the way it is.
If you live, because you used to live close by, Joe. If you lived in my neighborhood and you saw a sign like that, what would you do?
And it's bad over by you.
Wear one. I would not wear one.
It would blow your mind, Debbie. In my neighborhood, there at 5, 6 o'clock, everyone's out walking and riding bikes. Nobody is wearing masks. Nobody. And if I go down to where Brian is, right down the freeway, and everybody is wearing masks there. Like 90% of the people are wearing masks.
Yeah.
And that's
Brian, do you feel like
crazy.
you need to wear a mask? Do you feel unsafe outside?
I wear a mask when I go into the store, but I don't wear a mask outside. But it's man, you know, they won't serve you if you don't wear a mask in the store.
Dude, I swear to fuck, do it. Do it.
Well,
do it.
That is the problem that you know, you go somewhere where that, you know, they don't have to serve you technically. So if they're going to not serve you, I could see that. But I like going into stores where I know I can get away with it because I know that the store well enough and they're not really enforcing it as much. So I like to go there, and the people that walk in are trying to self-police, and that's where I get crazy. That really bothers me. It you know, if the store is cool with it, I don't want to deal with people telling me what I should be doing, and that really gets me fired up.
So if you were in a store without a mask and some other shopper, not an owner, says you need to put on a mask, sir.
I was in a store, this donut shop near my house where I know them, and the owners they'll throw a mask on when customers come in just because they don't want to get on Instagram or whatever. But I went in there and no mask, and people came in and they were staring at me, and they were staying away from me. And so, I respected that. I didn't try to get in their face, but at the same time, I thought they were complete fools. So there's that.
The truth is, I don't know what we should do. Like I said, I've heard so much conflicting information. Debbie, did you witness that one Asian reporter ask the president a loaded question?
Thanks to you, I saw it.
What did you think of that chick?
I think she was a plant. I think they said send the chink,
nice.
Send the chink over there and dare her, dare him.
Well, the word chink, he didn't say that. And I would not use that language either. But
I'm saying, I think that's what CNN, was it CNN?
Yeah, who was she working for, Brian?
She was working for CBS.
Same thing.
And
they hate Trump, and they're trying anything they can do to make him look bad. And he said,
ask China.
It was something about, how can you say that we're doing good?
And it's not, why is it a competition with you?
You asked that to me because I'm Asian or whatever she said.
Mm. Yeah, why did you ask me that question? She didn't even say Asian at first. She said, why did you ask me that question? He said, I would ask it to anybody. And then I think he said, is it because I'm Asian?
And it was clear it was because,
yeah, that was big. That was a pretty big story.
And a lot of people have railed on it, and Facebook did not promote my show, and it pissed me off.
Yeah, so we did a show on it, and then he tried to promote it on Facebook, and no dice.
Well, did you hear about what Mark Zuckerberg said?
What's that?
No.
What Zuckerberg said about posting anything on
Facebook?
Yep, on Facebook. I'll see if I can find it for you so you can hear it. It's not copyrighted.
What was it? Can you give us a gist of it?
Yep, he says if we don't like it, we're going to take it down. We don't give a fuck.
If we don't, so he doesn't. Does he say any subject, or just is it regarding the pandemic?
He says if we don't like it, we're taking it down.
Because for a while he was saying he was in favor of freedom of speech and it was going to be an open platform, and now he's changed his tune.
I know. I think that some people, I just think that some people that do, they just get owned or something. I'm not sure what it is. I just think they get owned.
I'm sure that was it. I'm sure he got owned.
Oh yeah.
Now I understand that this is their platform, that they own it, and it's a business and all that. But Jesus Christ, people, if you're going to allow one side, you should allow both sides.
Well, to me, it is a form, and it is a form of discrimination. And it goes against the spirit of the 1964 Civil Rights Act, which says, for public accommodations, if you're open to the public, you have to be open to all of the public. You cannot discriminate by law. And the 1964 Civil Rights Act was written in the spirit of the 14th Amendment, which is the equal protection under the law. And these social media companies are not.
They're only censoring one side. They're only censoring the right. They're not censoring the left.
Yeah, that's true. And that's, and that to me is just as bad as racial or gender discrimination. It's just as bad.
I know. I think it sucks. It absolutely sucks.
And the civil rights, the government should step in and expand the public accommodations part of the 1964 Civil Rights Act, to expand that to political persuasion.
I agree. I totally agree. I absolutely 100% agree. I think it's horrible what they're doing what they're doing to people. I think it's And Zuckerberg just comes right out and says, hey, look, if we don't like what you put on there, we're going to take it off. And especially if it has anything to do with the coronavirus. I mean, whatever y'all call it here on your show.
Yeah, I mean, was it mainly with regards to that, or did he talk about hate speech as well?
I don't know. I was trying to find it. I think it's on my history here. I was just going through my history to see if it was on here because I had seen it the other day. And I was like, gosh, I got to show that to Brian. What do you think about the 5G bullshit?
I don't know. The 5G stuff, I'm not.
Well, I posted a link for if you want to do some research, but there has been a lot of documentation, at least 5 really heavy studies from other countries that studied microwave technology and the wave technology that's used in 5G, and none of it is good. It's physically very damaging for humans. So yeah, I think that there has to be liability, and there has been a lot of work by the medical industry and by the government to pretty much lock out liability. And I think that there are people working on it now. I know there are people that are working on developing new contracts that would basically put liability back on the government for if there is health concerns or health problems that arise from the use of 5G, if they can prove and be and the biggest issue here, Debbie, is transparency. There is no transparency, and don't tell me there is. They're just putting these things up and they're going to fire them up, and people have all these questions and they're saying don't worry about it, and people are worried about it. So there is no there's no real science or any transparency going on there. And I think that's the hugest problem. Why would they do that? Why would they set up these systems? Why would they take advantage of this shutdown to put 5G in all of the schools across the country? Why would they do it and not tell us exactly why? And so there needs to be more of that to come through, and before I stop talking about it. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, I can't claim to know much, but look at these studies. They're scary and they're real, and anyways.
What do you guys, because I am a compulsive. Another thing that has made me angry is I am a compulsive overeater. I'm also diabetic and I have high blood pressure. And how do you help someone? I don't scarf down the way I used to scarf down when I was, high school and a young man. But I eat too much. I have the desire for sugar, and I don't want to go down the David Fiker route of putting the belt around my belly, around my gut. The lap band. Should we call it the Fiker band?
David Fiker band.
Don't do the Fiker band. Whatever you do, do the KDD band. Maybe you know what? Maybe
I think I found it. I found the Zuckerberg clip for you. Let me see if this is it. This is not copyrighted. I think this is it. I could be wrong.
For many of us, Facebook is a reality in our business and our personal lives. I communicate with my constituents as well as my friends through the platform daily. Many benefits accrue from the service, yet in the midst of these great benefits, great challenges have emerged, and I want to welcome you to this hearing. Mr. Zuckerberg, I believe—
How long ago was this, Debbie?
Much for good.
Say it again. What did you say, dear?
How long ago was this?
April 30th. It was just 9 days ago.
Really? Okay, go ahead.
This is it. This is where he says it right here.
That we welcomed an innovation together with the controversies that it spawned. Unfortunately, some in politics and the media see their role as cajoling Facebook to censor its users' speech. In April, I wrote you that I was disappointed that Facebook would consider restricting free speech rights to communicate the risk associated with vaccinations.
You remember on the first one, he was real pasty and he kept drinking water. Remember, he kept sipping water. This one, number one, he does not sip water and he's been tanning. You can tell. So now this is real recent.
I support vaccinations of children and adults, but I also support open and frank communication of the risk of vaccination. Every person should make vaccination decisions with full information. In recognition of the uncertainties, the risk of vaccinations, the federal government has created a vaccination trust fund that has paid out over $4 billion to compensate those who have been injured by vaccinations. There's no more clear or persuasive statement about the risk associated with vaccinations than the existence and the payment record of that fund. That the risk of vaccination should not exist, and that Facebook users fair and open discussions
physical harm or imminent harm. And that's from our community that people want us to stop the spread of misinformation. So what we do is we try to focus on misinformation that has the potential to lead to physical harm or imminent harm. And that can include especially misleading health advice. There was a hoax that was going viral a number of months back that
let's kind of stick to this subject because our time is very limited. Are you 100% confident that vaccines pose no injury to any person on this planet?
Congressman, I don't think it would be possible for anyone to be 100% confident, but my understanding of the scientific consensus is that it is important that people get their vaccines.
Wow.
You said your platform, you want to, you believe in giving people a voice. Shouldn't somebody have the opportunity to express an opinion different from yours? I mean, over $4 billion is...
Okay, here he goes. Watch him get put on the spot right here. This is where they nailing right here. It's almost over.
Been paid out by the fund. Over thousands of people. Don't you think people should be able to have information to make an informed choice?
Congressman, I do. And that's why we don't stop people from posting on their page something that's wrong. But if someone wants to post vaccine, anti-vaccination content, or if they want to join a group where people are discussing that content, we don't prevent them from doing that. But what we do is we don't go out of our way to make sure that our group recommendation systems try to show people or encourage people to join those groups. Okay. We discourage that.
Okay. Well, how do you discourage it?
Well, there are a number of different tactics. For example, if someone is typing in into the search results, into the search box, something that might lead to anti-vax content, we don't recommend anti-vax searches to them. If you type in the name of a group exactly, you can get the group. We're not going to hide it. We're not going to prevent you from joining it. But we're not going to recommend or go out of our way to show people content that would encourage people to join those groups. But well, people can share that content.
Many of the people harmed by this policy are in fact parents with disabled children, and I don't think we or you should be so quick to turn our backs on them. If you look at the statistics, I think you're making a bad mistake. Time has expired. I yield back. Thank you.
Oh, I mean that's a sample. What do you think about that? He doesn't allow, and no, he's lying. He does not allow anything on there about anti-vaxxing.
Joe, go ahead. I just became angry again at social media, and I wish they would tackle the fanatical anti-racist on their social media platforms. And you know what? I don't know why Susan Wojcicki has never been called before Congress, like Facebook and Twitter and Google has. If someone knows why she hasn't been called the way these other social media giants have, please tell me why. I don't understand why Mark Zuckerberg's been called. I believe the Jack Dorsey, the head of Twitter, has been called. and I forget the name of the head of Google, but he's been called, why hasn't Susan Wojcicki? And I also, by the way, I tweeted to Joe an article about Susan Wojcicki. I don't know if it's Wojcicki or Wojcicki.
She's a tranny, right?
She's not a tranny, dude. She's the head of Google. She's part Eastern European. Her father was immigrated here.
Looks awful manly to me.
Jeez. You're gonna get us murdered here, Joe.
Trannyville.
Yeah. Well, she has 5 children, by the way.
I'm calling for a transvestigation on Susan Wojcicki.
Transvestigation.
She's just a sweet transvestite from trans. And Debbie, by the way, I bet you never watched Meet John Doe, that movie. Did you? No, you didn't.
No, I did not. But I have a 28-second clip. It's also not copyrighted. Listen to this. This is Susan I don't know how you say her fucking name.
John Wojcicki.
YouTube's free speech policies. Here we go. 28 seconds long.
But then we also talk about removing information that is problematic. Of course, anything that is medically unsubstantiated. So people saying like, take vitamin C, take turmeric, like those all will cure you. Those are the examples of things that would be a violation of our policy. Anything that would go against World Health Organization recommendations would be a violation of our policy. And
okay, let's talk about the World Health Organization for a minute, shall we? And who they're in bed with.
Okay.
How much do y'all know about that?
China, they're in bed with China. Hello? Hello?
I hear you.
There we go. Sorry about that. I had it muted. That was my bad. Go ahead, Debbie.
You idiot. No, they are in bed with China. I know about the world. Yeah, I don't know why she's siding with the World Health Organization. She should be called. The only reason I would want to see Republicans win is I want to see the left crushed. Personally, that's the only reason, and I think they need to be. They need to be crushed. That's all. Go ahead.
I cannot stand them. I can't stand them. I can't stand the people on the left. I think they are the most. They remind me of Curtis.
Yes.
The most hard-headed, bull-headed. Yes, just
I didn't like that comment.
Bam.
Delete that
delete
show.
This comment. Delete your channel's been deleted. I love you very much. Your channel's deleted. Thank you.
Titanic.
God. Oh, he was hard to deal with. Son of a bitch.
Can we just delete your channel and you not complain about it? Hello?
God, he was horrible on some of my old shows. He was like talking to a brick. One time he goes, what is your name, son? And you go, you can call me Brian. He goes, but what is your name? You said, well, some people call me Mr. Midnight. He goes, well, Mr. Midnight Movie, I think you're an idiot.
What? Now, by the way, so can we play more? Debbie, can we play more of that video? Because she gets into more.
Very matter of fact.
Oh yeah.
Because I think you're an idiot.
I could just picture him saying it.
Oh, it was greatness. It was on the one where he said, "Well, my greats had slaves."
Oh, he went off on you for mentioning that, by the way.
Yes. He never let him live it down.
He said, Debbie, you are a bully. You bully me, bully me.
Stop bullying me.
Your son called me work and called me awful names. I had to change my name.
You owe me an apology. And so I started playing that song and I sang that song. I say, I'm sorry.
That's not the kind of apology I need. I'm here eating my Rocky Road ice cream with a bottle of vodka, and you owe me an apology, Debbie.
Oh, God, it was great. That's when he goes, what is your name? And you go, well, you can just call me Brian. I know, but aren't you Midnight or something like that? I think you're an idiot. You were like, whoa. Everybody on the show went, oh, my God. I couldn't believe he said that.
Classic Kurt right there.
Kurt wanted me to sell.
We were talking about blacks, and you were raising hell about blacks, and he didn't like it.
I just believe I was raising some truth. Yeah. So can we play more of Susan? Because some more of Susan Majewski, and then we can get on. And because I know, did you have an opinion about the World Health Organization, or have I said everything?
I think they're horrible. I think they're part of the problem in this world. I think they're absolutely part of the problem.
I thought they were already being defunded. I thought that was already a thing.
My thing is the biggest problem. The biggest problem in this country that I see right now are still the fanatical anti-racist left. I still see them as the biggest problem, not only in this country but the West.
Are they swaying laws?
Susan Majewski has been CEO of YouTube since February of 2014. She got that position because when Google began, it began in her garage. In other words, nepotism. Here's a general timeline of her time as CEO. 2014, YouTube Premium was created. In 2015, they changed the name to YouTube Red to sound more cool.
Shut the fuck up. Why Susan Wojcicki is ruining YouTube. Shall we?
Mm-hmm.
2 minutes and 20 seconds long. Here
Yes.
we go. Not copyrighted.
Yo, what's up, guys? Botcher here. 2 hours ago, I was just sitting down in my bed, not knowing what I'm supposed to do today. But I can always count on Team YouTube for tweeting the most retarded shit in the world that cracks me up all the time until I realize that they're being dead serious, and then I go cry myself to sleep. Honestly, I'm willing to bet $100 that Susan over here has a weird fetish of watching people cry. Like, I'm not kidding. I bet you she comes back from a long day of work at the YouTube headquarters, doing absolutely nothing, sits her ass in the couch watching people cry instead of watching Netflix like a normal human being. If you don't get
Watching Netflix like a normal human being. That was good. Oh, I love this kid.
your truth or dare smile looking ass out of here. I could actually see Susan scrolling through Twitter, seeing a bunch of YouTubers talking trash about her and how bad YouTube is being run nowadays, but her ass is gonna be like, it is what it is. Someone please tell me the nearest cliff, because I'm about to jump off.
I like this kid. I like that kid. I think she's ruining YouTube. I think that she's censoring it. I think she's one-sided on the entire deal. She's completely one-sided.
I'm glad there are young people making a lot of really good videos that know what's going on. They're not sitting around. There's a lot of dumb ones too. Yeah.
He's a cute kid too.
All right. Brian, where are you at? Are you falling asleep?
I'm not falling asleep. I did sneeze for a little bit.
And, I did sneeze.
Yes, that was it.
Yeah. You know, and
I'm so proud of our salon owner here.
Oh, I heard about that. That made news.
Have you gotten your hair cut? Your hair done? And your behind?
No, I did my own hair.
What?
Did you know of this place before?
I've seen it a million times. It's right there on the corner of Preston Road and LBJ. I've seen it 1,000 times, called Salon Ooh La La, which I always thought it was a dumb name, but it's got a great clientele. They do nails and hair and everything.
Now, Debbie, when's the last time you had your hair in a beehive?
I've never had my hair in a beehive.
A little young for that.
You idiots.
Now, do they still have the waitresses with the hair? Because that went like the waitress with the hair in the beehive was out by the 90s, but you still had beehive hairdo and waitresses at certain restaurants.
My mom did that.
You know, that's true in the 80s, but you would have been too young in the 80s to really have done the beehive thing. So
Debbie never wore a beehive. You never wore a beehive, Debbie? Like, not for prom, you didn't put the beehive up?
Beehive. You wore a beehive.
I would, Debbie, if I had hair, I'd wear a beehive.
I'd wear a beehive too if I had the hair.
We'd be two beehiving and you'd feel so jealous.
Now, let me ask you something, Brian. Yeah. Nowadays, if the Cuban Missile Crisis came on this country and we were going under that, do you believe that the left would be going ape shit against JFK?
No.
On news?
No, and
Why?
the press didn't start going apeshit until I think Vietnam, and even then they were respectful. They would never behave. You know what, Debbie? I have never seen the press behave this way, ever.
I know. That's what I'm backing you up on that, by the way. I'm backing you up. I think they're horrible.
Yeah, the press has gotten
They're not
worse,
supposed to give their
and
opinion.
social media is
Yeah.
backing the press, who is horrible. The press is terrible. They're not finding solutions to this problem. You know, they're not asking, like, what can we do? How can we open? What is the safest way to open? Those are the questions I want to be asked. I don't want someone to have, you know what? If people are going to have gotcha questions, the president shouldn't call on them. Because then they make it about them. And I don't, you know. And those people don't deserve presidential press passes, because all they're doing is asking gotcha questions. They're asking loaded questions. And that reporter has done that several times. And it's almost like
freaking call on them.
Yeah, well, he shouldn't. You know, and it seems like the progressives use the left for their own benefit. You know, but it is what it is. Anything else to add, Joe, before I call it? Hey, by the way, how should I go about fasting? Because when I really want to scarf it down, how do I?
You've got juice. You've got a juice.
I would say make it more of a realistic lifestyle change. Just start, take your first bite of food an hour or two later than you normally do, and try to work your way up. Like I do not eat before noon, so nothing. I may have a cup of coffee. That's it until about 12. I usually wait now until about 12:30. Try to eat something light, and then cruise. That gets me through the day on just one small meal, and then at night that's where I have to work on a little bit more. But I'll eat a little bit too much in the evening. But I'm happy about not craving food and still having the energy in the morning. And that's the key. You don't want to not have energy to do what you need to get done.
You ask him a question, he'll tell you how to build a fucking watch.
That's right. That's right. I wanted to explain that because it shouldn't be like forcing yourself to not eat for a day. It just doesn't help anything. If it's not realistic for you, then try other approaches.
And Debbie, you're not the only one that doesn't watch any of the movies that I do. I just did a sweet horror movie from the 1970s, and he didn't watch hardly any of it. The guy, I don't know if you remember the show Alice. There was, Mel. I
don't know why I remember that one.
Because you were like, Flo, kiss my grits.
I wasn't like, Flo, kiss my grits. I was more like, what did Curtis used to call me? Sue Ellen. He used to say I was
Sue Ellen. Yeah, Sue Ellen.
Oh my God, that's funny as fuck.
All right, Brian. Anything else? Debbie, anything else?
I think we'll call it a day. It was kind of fun to a degree, and
it was great. I'm glad that you called us.
Hopefully, the show translates into people wanting to watch, but they may not. I don't know how good the information was or anything like that, But who knows?
Well, I think they'll look back on this and they'll say, when JP called everything a hoax, that's when I subscribed to transparency and merit.
Curtis?
But by the way, Willie,
are you there?
Hello?
You'll never be lonely because you're never alone when you
remember, I know you used to play that. It would piss Curtis off.
By the way, let me mention, don't play that song, Debbie.
Don't play.
Why do you play that? I didn't own everybody. All right. I only owned them till the 1980s, and then I set them free. Why do you keep blaming me? I was a child.
I can't help what they did.
I can't help what they did.
What were you saying about
Debbie,
Willie?
I murdered those women in self-defense. I can't help it. My dad was, what problem? Why do you blame me? Anyone would have helped his father accomplish that. Why do you blame me? Hoodly do. Doubly do.
Yeah.
Doubly do. I'm telling everybody on you. I'm going to tell everyone what you did to me.
Were you going to ask her something?
And you're going to be tarred and feathered. What the hell was I going to say? I guess, I have to wait for a weight loss thing from KDD. Just as KDD did the bullying, the anti-bullying message, maybe she'll do a fasting message. This is KDD from the page. You can do it. I've been through it.
KDD.
I've eaten the whole fridge. I've stolen food. I've eaten other people's cheese. I've eaten other people's cheeseburger. One time I was like, they go, "Oh, Katie, what are you doing? You're stealing someone's Whopper." And I just said, "Shut up."
I've been set on fire. And everyone's like, "Oh, Katie, what are you doing? You're just going to kill yourself." And I'm like, "No, I'm not."
And I said, "Stop burning my food. I'm hungry now." And I would just go in there and just take the food off the grill.
We did a show one time called Boycott Jerry Lewis. And it was the wildest fucking show you've ever heard in your life. We kept going. What did he say?
Hey, lady.
Everybody that called in, we were going, "Lady." It was so stupid. God.
That was a funny one. I remember that. That was hilarious.
Oh my God, we're so stupid. We did one called Not Another Korean War, and we started playing all this music. It was just funny. We used to have so much goddamn fun. I swear to God.
The solution I would go in.
Yeah. Oh, it's funny. Talk real, no solutions. I did a show called, I was just looking at these old shows while I was talking to you guys.
Remember
Well, I'll let
poverty.
y'all go.
All right. I was going to mention Poverty Supreme, but okay. And Black Candy.
Remember the debate, the Jewish producer?
Yes, that was awful. The ambush.
Oh my God.
There's an oven waiting for him.
But I do it again.
Chat room, Debbie.
Debbie, he was in the chat room. Now, wait, I do have that drop. I know I have that fucking drop somewhere. Where did I have that? Debbie, he was in the chat room.
And what? By the way, I wonder how G Pearl's doing during this pandemic.
I don't know. I guess I should talk to him more than I don't.
I'm tired a lot because I eat too much. It makes me tired.
All right.
That's it for this. Let's call this puppy a day.
Thank you all for listening.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, Debbie. Boop.